Hi guys, welcome back to ABoC Studio, and in today's video I will show you how to crochet sushi scarf. This looks like a regular scarf with different colors on it, but say that you get a little too warm and you take it off and roll it up. It's a sushi. I think this is such a great gift for friends and family or for yourself. This video is an in-depth tutorial, so even if you've never crocheted before, you can just grab your tools and follow me. Speaking of tools, having the right tools and material is very important for an enjoyable crochet time. So let's talk about that. For this project, we're gonna need yarn in these 4 colors. I recommend using chunky yarn, category number 5, with the 7mm crochet hook. So this is chunky yarn. However, for green and white, you will see that I use double strand DK yarn. When you put 2 strands of DK yarn together, they will give you the same thickness of chunky yarn. And I do this mainly because I could not find these 2 shades in chunky weight, so double strand DK yarn is a good option. Of course, if you can find all of these colors in chunky weight, then that would be more convenient. For beginners, I would recommend a black shade that is not too deep. Some grayish black would be easier to work with because the deep black yarn would make it really hard to see the stitches. We're gonna start with a salmon and we're gonna make a number of chain. To make chain, first you need a slip knot. You're gonna hold your yarn like this, like so, alright? And then with your hook, you're gonna do this, and then this, and then you will see this loop. You want to keep it like so, and then with this working yarn, yarn over and pull that yarn over loop through this loop and then tighten it up. Now that is a slip knot. The point of the slip knot is for this loop to be adjustable with the working yarn, not the tail, okay? So when you pull on the working yarn, you can adjust this loop, the size of this loop. When you are crocheting, all the loops on the hook should stay close to the size of the hook. It should not be too loose and should not be too tight. There should be just enough space so that it's easy to work with. Now to make chain, we simply yarn over and pull through. That is the first chain. Now for the second chain, yarn over and pull through. And then yarn over, pull through the third chain, alright? Then we are going to repeat the same process until this chain is long enough for us. This chain will determine the width of the scarf. So the longer you make the chain, the larger the width of the scarf. So let's repeat that until you feel like it is long enough. I'll make about 16 chains. So once you have your chain, we're gonna go ahead and add one more chain into this foundation, but it's going to be a loosen up one. So you're gonna loosen the loop on the hook just a little bit, yarn over and pull through. And you will see that that loop is slightly bigger than the others, and that is good enough to go. Starting the first row, we are going to double crochet into the third chain. First chain, second chain, and third chain, alright? Insert the hook right under this top loop of this third chain, alright? This one. Now for double crochet, you are going to yarn over, like so. You will see that you have kind of like 2 loops on the hook. Insert the hook in the third chain, 1, 2, 3, that one, like so, okay? With the working yarn, draw our loop, and you will see that you have 3 loops on the hook. Now yarn over and pull through 2 loops, like so. Now you will see that you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And that is the very first double crochet next to this chain 2. Because we work in the third chain, so we have this chain 2 next to the double crochet, okay? We're gonna repeat the same process, double crochet in the next chain. So this one, and insert the hook under this top loop of the chain, alright? So for double crochet, yarn over, insert the hook in the next chain, like so. With the working yarn, draw our loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that is the second double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet, double crochet. Let's repeat the same process. Double crochet into the next chain, yarn over, insert the hook, draw our loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Alright, and repeat that same process. Double crochet into each chain across. You can see that I'm at the end of this row and I have 2 chains left to work in. I'm gonna double crochet in this one and then double crochet in this last one. Alright, now follow the rhythm pattern. We are going to chain 2 and you will see next to the chain 2 is a L2C. It means loosen up the second chain. So first chain, and then the second chain you're gonna need to loosen it up just a little bit so that it will be slightly bigger than the first one. Okay, now we are going to turn the work from the right to the left like so and move on to row 2. You'll see in the rhythm pattern that we are going to first double crochet into the second stitch. So this is the first stitch and this is the second stitch. On top of each stitch you will see this V shape. That's where we're gonna insert the hook right under this V shape. The reason why we don't work a double crochet in the first stitch is because we already have this chain 2 sitting right on top of the first stitch, and that will be count as 1 stitch. So if you work a double crochet into this first stitch, there will be 2 stitches on this first stitch. We only need 1 stitch on top of each double crochet, right? So the first double crochet of row 2, we need to put it in the second stitch. Just the same way we work the double crochet, we're gonna first yarn over, insert the hook in the second double crochet right under that V on top of the double crochet, so like so, right? Then with the working yarn, draw our loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that is the first double crochet of row 2. Now double crochet into this next stitch, this double crochet under the V on top of that, yarn over, insert the hook under the V like so. Alright, draw our loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and again yarn over, insert the hook, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And we're gonna repeat the same process all the way until the end, and I will meet you by the end of this row somewhere here when I have a few stitches left to show you what to do next. I'm at the end of this row and you see that I have 3 stitches left to work in, 2 double crochets and a chain 2. This chain 2 we count as a stitch, so that's why we have 3 stitches left to work in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish these 2 double crochet and I will show you how to work in the chain 2. This chain 2 will be the last stitch we work in, and you will see this little space in the second chain that is slightly bigger than the first one, and this is the exact reason why we always loosen up the second chain before we turn the work. We will have a little extra space to insert the hook in there. If you don't loosen up the second chain, this loop will be very tight and it will be hard to insert the hook. So basically, you will work a double crochet right there in the space of the second chain, which is the last stitch. Yarn over, insert the hook right there, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And this is how everything should look like. At this point, I would recommend beginners to count the number of stitches you have on the row. So to count the number of stitches, you will count all the stitches on the row, including the chain 2, the beginning chain, which we loosen up the second chain, right, as 1 stitch. So 1, the beginning chain, chain 2 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way until the end. And let's write that number down so that we can keep track and keep that number the same so that the shape of the scarf will be nice and even. Before we move on to row 3, we're gonna again chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, like so, and then turn the work. Now from row 3, the process will be pretty much the same. There's nothing new. We are going to double crochet into the second stitch and then each stitch across all the way until the end. I will meet you by the end of this row to show you one more time what to do next. Okay, I'm at the end of this row and you'll see that I have 2 stitches left. This double crochet and this last stitch, which is a chain 2. I'm gonna finish that, double crochet and the last double crochet into this second chain of the chain 2. Alright, this is how it should look like, and you will still need to have the same number of stitches as the first and the second row. Now, chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, turn the work, and the process will be pretty much the same. There's nothing new. So please follow the reading pattern on the screen. I'm at the end of this row and you can see that I have 2 stitches left to work in. And let's do that. This one and then this last one, which is the chain 2. And now I will show you how to switch colors for the first section of the wasabi. We will switch color before we chain 2 and turn the work. You're gonna hold the other yarn like this, you put it on the hook, pull it out of this loop, and then you're gonna need this tail to be at least about 4 inches long so that it will be long enough to weave in later. Okay, then you're gonna hold on the previous yarn, which is the salmon, and pull to close the previous loop up. Take the scissors and cut this salmon, which is the previous color, cut it off. Then before you move on, you want to tie the tail of the new yarn with this previous yarn together, like so. And now we can proceed with this new yarn with a loop on the hook. You can adjust the loop with the working yarn, right? Now repeat the same pattern, chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, turn the work from the right to the left. Okay, so sometime when you pull on the working yarn, the second loop got tied up like so. You want to redo it so that it's nice and big again. Okay, we are going to double crochet into the second stitch. So first stitch had this chain 2, so we double crochet in the second stitch, which is this one, yarn over, insert the hook, draw our loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, repeat the same process with this green yarn, and the process will be just the same. There's nothing new, so please follow the reading pattern on the screen. I'm at the end of this row. You see I have 2 stitches left, the double crochet and the last stitch, the chain 2. I do this and then the last stitch. Okay. Like so, and that is how it should look like by now. We will switch back to this orange yarn and we do the exact same thing we did here. I will do that with you one more time. So we pick up this yarn, put it in the hook, on the hook, pull our loop, okay, and then pull on the previous yarn to close the loop up. Take the scissors, cut the tail, leave a long enough tail to weave in later, and then tie these 2 tails together like so, and then we have this yarn to work with. Okay, chain 2 with a loosen up second chain a little bit, turn the work and double crochet into the second stitch in each stitch across all the way until the end. The process will be pretty much the same. There's nothing new, so please follow the written pattern on the screen. So now when you roll this up, you will see that the last row almost reaches this first wasabi section. So this is where we want to switch back to the wasabi yarn so that the second section would sit right on top of the first one. So now we do the same thing to switch color, and I will do it real quick with you, okay? Pull this yarn into this loop and then pull on the previous yarn to close the loop up. Cut the previous yarn array, don't cut the new yarn. So you cut here, leave a long enough tail, and then tie these 2 tails together. Alright, and repeat the same process. Chain 2, loosen up second chain, turn the work, double crochet into the second stitch and each stitch across, and please follow the written pattern. So now when you roll it up, it will look like this, okay? Now I will switch to the rice, and you do the same thing, switching color. The process will be just the same, there's nothing new, so please follow the written pattern on the screen. So I'm at the end of this last row, and this is how it should look like when you roll it up like this, and here is where we want to bind off. Now to bind off, it is very simple. You simply chain 1 like so, pull this loop out, extend it, and then you cut leave a long enough tail to weave in later, you can pull this working yarn away and then pull this tail tight. And that's it. That's how you bind off. Now I will show you how to weave all these ends or tails back into the piece properly so that it won't unravel by itself in the future or in the washer. Alright? So first you need to make sure that they all tie together, this yarn. Okay? Make sure that they are nice and tight. So let's start with this one, and you put the yarn in the needle. Alright, and then you weave it into the stitches, but the trick is to weave it not in a straight line but up and down, right to the left, and kind of twist it with the stitches so that it will stay in better. So I will go like this. And then when you feel like it's enough, you would stretch the piece out to reposition the tail that you just weaved in. And we can cut this off really close to where it sticks out, like so, and that's it. And then you can just repeat the same process to all of these tails. When it's like very short like this, you can put the needle where you want the tail to be first. Say that, and then put it in here and pull it. Okay, don't forget to stretch the fabric to reposition the tail, and then you can just cut it off right there. And that's pretty much it. Let's do the same thing to all of these tails, and we are done.